I'm Dr. Brad Murray. Today's topic is going to be on vision in the classroom. What are the most important vision skills for learning? I'm not going to go through all of them, but the most important, number one, is tracking. Tracking of the eye movements needed to gather information quickly and accurately. If you don't get the information in right, it's like having a computer and you're typing the wrong information into the computer. It's not going to give you the right answer, no matter how smart the computer is. So if your tracking is off, it's going to affect your comprehension, because you're not going to get information in as accurately. You're going to leave out things, you're going to skip over things, you're going to make silly mistakes, you're going to have to reread things a lot. So tracking is the number one most common. 96% of the children in special education and learning disabled category, over 95% of them have these types of tracking issues. Very important to test. Focusing, this is the ability to not only see clearly, the acuity, but to be able to sustain it. And so if you have farsightedness, for example, you can see clearly when you're younger, but can you sustain it for any length of time? And after you sustained it for a while, can you shift focus then afterwards to be able to copy from the board or to take notes? And if you can't shift quickly, it's going to slow you down in that process. Also, that focusing system, even the top third of the class can likely have the focusing system get tight, and it can lead to them getting nearsighted, where they actually contributes to them losing their distance acuity. Again, that'll be on another video that we have. Perception, or the next one is eye teaming. This is the ability to use the two eyes together. We all have two eyes, but they're not necessarily equal in how comfortable they are working together. This is a stamina issue. Many people, when they're reading, get tired quickly. Within 15 minutes their eyes are tired, they start to lose their place, their comprehension goes down, they get a headache, they fall asleep. And this happens to many people, not just children but adults. And if your eyes are getting tired, it's going to affect your reading and comprehension and your attention, obviously. Perception, quick screening in perception and integration would be highly recommended. Perception is, once you get it in, are you able to process it? Are you able to identify it, store it, and recall it? And then once you have that processing, can you get it out? Because vision doesn't talk, but it leads your verbal system. So as you get it in visually, can you say it? Or can you get it in visually and then get it out and write it? So it's visual to verbal integration and vision to motor integration with the fine motor for writing. So it does affect both of those. Now, in finishing with this video, all of these skills that we've just talked about, all these vision skills, are trainable, as we've talked about. They're preventable and trainable. The importance of vision was already talked about earlier. 80% or more of the information that we gather throughout the day for learning, and virtually everything we do, is through the visual system. How common are vision problems, however? And this study that should be on the screen now was a study done with almost 3,000 students in the LA area, and it shows the incidence of vision problems in the classroom. And if you look from the top third to the bottom third to the special education resource kids, the percentage of vision problems dramatically goes up. Now, this is not acuity. These are the vision skill problems that we talked about in the earlier video, much more than just seeing clearly. But you can see that in the lower third of the class, greater than 60% of those students are going to have vision skill problems that are going to affect their learning. And if you go into the resource, the special learning disabled children's group, you'll see that greater than 95% of them are going to have vision obstacles to their learning. So it's a very high incidence as you go from the top of the class to the bottom of the class. And the other thing to understand in this is that there's a reverse correlation to acuity, to the sight. If you did a sight study, not a vision study, but a sight study, it would be just the opposite. It would be the top of the class that would have the highest incidence of acuity, sight distance problems, because they're the more avid readers, and more avid readers are more likely to lose their distance vision. That will be on another video. But basically, if you're going to find the kids with vision problems that are affecting them in learning, you want to see the 20/20 kids because there's a higher risk of them having vision problems than the kids that aren't seeing clearly in the distance. So with this in mind then, how do you detect vision problems if the normal screening that we do for acuity is actually not going to show the kids that have vision problems that would affect them in the classroom? Well, one of the ways is just being a good observer, what we call the ABCs of detection. And that should be on the screen now. And the A part of the identification of vision problems, signs and symptoms, the A is the appearance. Make sure you look at the eyes. If the eyes look irritated, if they're squinting, if they're rubbing, there's indications that the eyes are not comfortable. Now maybe just allergies, but even allergies can affect your attention and ability to see clearly and comfortably. But it may be eye teaming problems, it could be things that are causing their eyes to get irritated that are vision skill related. The second, the B part of the ABCs is behavior. Obviously vision affects reading, it affects writing, affects attention. So watch for indications of loss of place, leaving things out, skipping over things. There's a lot of different things that vision can affect in the reading, also in the writing, and obviously in their attention. The C part is the complaints. Listen to your kids. Now, most of the time they're not going to complain, but if they do, if they say they're blurry, they've got headaches, their eyes hurt, eye fatigue, they're seeing double even sometimes, you may even have to ask them questions about this because they often won't tell you. The other way of detecting obviously is to make sure your child and yourself for that matter, these aren't just kids problems, but make sure you get a vision exam, not just a sight examination. Now traditional examination with acuity and health, very important, but there's developmental exam that goes far beyond that to make sure you test all the skills, still test the health and the acuity, but also the other skills to make sure you're not missing something that could be affecting you or your child, and especially if you're in that lower third of the class in reading and writing and attention issues.